Hello friends, how are we doing? Hope everybody's okay. Today's video is an update to the A1 Evo Neuron video I did about 5 months ago. OCA has released a new app and we're going to go through the basics of getting everything set up. So as you can see on the screen here, first things first, if you go to the link in the description, it should be link 1, which will bring you to the Google Drive app here, and download these files here. Now, depending what operating system you've got, if you've got a Mac or you're using Ubuntu or Windows, just download the specific one of these three here. You don't need to download all of those, but download everything else. And once you've done that, you will then need to go to the second link, which is the REW beta release. And down here are the links for your specific operating system. So download the one that you require, install it, and then we'll crack on to the next part. I've already done that, so everything is ready and set up. So first things first, in here, or in your A1 Evo Acoustica folder, you will have your exe file here, depending on what operating system you're using. Just ignore these for the time being. So once you click on that, it will bring up this PowerShell screen here. And the first thing we need to do is, where it says choose an action, is discover your AVR and create a configuration file. Now, the configuration file will have inside it your setup, so your speaker setup. At the moment, mine is 5.1. Anytime you change your speaker setup, redo that configuration file. So for instance, I'm just going to do it now. Choose action 1. Discover that configuration file. So it's found my amp and it's asking if that is the actual amp model. So the answer is yes. Enter. And if you look in the folder here, it's created this receiver_config file. Again, if you change any settings or change any speaker configs from 5.1 to 7.1, you add Atmos, for example, dual subs, for example, make sure you go back in and recreate that AVR configuration file before you go any further. So there are a couple of other options here. You've got measure system speakers and subwoofers. And what this will do, this will actually create the, in my case, .ady file, and it will go through the calibration setup as though you had done it through the Denon amp or the multi-EQ app or the Marantz amp. So in other words, I'll quickly go into it and show you. Measure system speakers and subwoofers. How many different microphone positions do you want to measure? I'll just go with 8, for example. And using a swivel mic stand is highly recommended. Fine. Do you want to add a delay before sweep start at each microphone position? I'll go no, because I'm not going through all of this. So that calibration microphone that came with the amp, plug it into the front panel of the AV receiver and set it up at your first position. You then continue and just go through all the instructions that it gives you. And then once it's completed that calibration, it will produce a file like here. So this .ady file, I've renamed it, but it'll show it as possibly Odyssey and then the date and positions. So I'll just come out of this. Close that down, reopen it. There we go. So once you've got that .ady file, or whatever the file is that comes off the Marantz. I'm assuming it may be ADY file as well. We go down to option 3 and start the optimizer. So you press enter and it will say that it's found REW in wherever you've installed it. So we'll launch it, press yes, enter, and here it's launching it. And it will come up here. Now, if it's your first time launching it, just 2 things to do. Go to Preferences, Preferences again, click on View, and change maximum measurements to 1000, and then untick Animate Measurements List. You'll have to reboot it, but that's fine. Once it's rebooted, come back to this screen here. So, this will also come up in your browser, the A1 Evo Acoustica, we'll call it app for now, Audio Optimization Suite. So the first thing that we need to do is extract the measurements from that ADY file that it created when we did the calibrating through the amp and through the PowerShell instructions. So extract it. So we go into the A1 Evo Acoustica folder and select the ADY file that you require. Again, if you change your speaker setup, run through all the calibration again and it will show that specific file that you require. So we open that and it will then put all the data and measurements into REW, and it will say here, successfully extracted 48 measurements to REW. Close that. Now there's an advanced setting here, which will bring up a lot of menus here, sliders, which you can change. To start off with, don't bother touching that until you've done your first calibrating and got the correct files, the file sent across. You don't need to bother with that unless you really want to. But again, messing with these settings may hurt your ears. So instead, we then click, once everything's loaded into here, we need to go to EQ, Target Settings, and House Curve. And then we choose a specific house curve. So that will be in the target curve library that you've downloaded. So if I close that down, and let me just move that across, you'll see it's here, target curve library. You can put that anywhere really, just as long as once you've gone into REW and EQ and select the house curve, you find it, and then pick whichever house curve you want. Let's go with Evo Neuron 3.0. Open that, and there it is located there. Close that down, and then we start the optimization. Click on it, and away it goes. As you can see here, and over in the right hand side here, it will start doing a cleanup. Smoothing EQ, target shape and room curve settings. And here it goes on the left hand side as well in REW. Save progress. We click yes, save. And then it figures out distances, figures out the crossover frequency for each speaker. depending on how many measurements you took, I only took 8, will depend on how long this takes. So there, it's assigning filters. So that's surround left, center, front left done, surround left, surround right. There we go. Right, so that's all done. So then you will get this specific file here, which is saved in the folder. So you click OK, and then you can close REW down, exit without saving, and then here, back in the A1 Evo Acoustica folder, you will see the OCA file here. Okay. Now to transfer that across to your amp, you click back onto the PowerShell window, go arrow down to transfer optimize calibration to your AVR, enter. And available calibration files, it'll do the most recent first. So as you can see, July 26, 1932, July 26, 1932. If you've got multiples here, it will list them in, as it says there, recent first. So I'll select the one. You don't have to enter the file path manually. Okay. So one, because I'm going to transfer that one across, press enter, and it will ask if your receiver has different presets, it will check that. And as it states here, receiver is currently set to preset 1. You can select preset to sort calibration 2 or 1, enter for the current. So mine's on 2. I'm going to keep it on 2 and enter it for there. Now, what I have found is if you are on, say, preset 2 on your amp, yet you want it to go to preset 1, on my specific amp, it sometimes balks and crashes, and I've got to do a power cycle and then switch it to the specific preset that I require before doing this transfer of file. So here we go, selection 2, enter. So it's sending everything across. That will take a few moments. While I will sup this beer. And there we go. Calibration transfer process completed. And it's done. And it is that simple. It's a lot easier to do than the last one. And that is pretty much it. If at any time you want to go back to start the optimizer again, just go back to option 3, press enter, reboot REW. There we go, there's REW, and then it will load up the A1 Evo Acoustica section in browser. There we go, and just go through it all again. If you want to go into advanced settings, do that, fix speaker polarities, avoid sub-inversion, center blend mode, enhance dialogue clarity, for example. There's quite a lot of here to go through, but do so at your own risk, of course. And that is it. If you've got any questions, fire away down below. And I'd just like to shout out to Jim, who gave me the impetus to actually do this specific video for everyone. I was going to do it ages ago, but as this has been updated, I thought I'd wait until it's updated to a point where it will be a lot easier for people to get into for the first time. So thanks, Jim. And that beer's cracked open. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care and enjoy your new sound.